Great day, everybody. Welcome to the Celebrity Diaries. Gladys Knight, known as the Sovereign of Seoul, is an American vocalist, musician, entertainer, and financial specialist. A 7-time Grammy Grant champ, she recorded hits through the 1960s, 1970s, and 1980s with her family bunch Gladys Knight and the Pips, which incorporated her sibling Merrilled. Bubba Knight and cousins William Visitor and Edward Patton have recorded 11 #1 R&B singles, 6 #1 R&B collections, and 2 #1 announcement Hot 100 singles. 12 p.m. Train to Georgia, and That Is How Companions Are, for which she managed DNA Warwick's Sir Elton John and Stevie Marvel in 1995. Gladys Knight got a star on the Hollywood Stroll of Distinction. She's won 7 Grammy Awards, 4 as a performance craftsman and 3 with the Pips, and is an inductee into the Wild Corridor of Acclaim and the Vocal Gathering Lobby of Popularity alongside the Pips. 2 of her tunes, I Heard Unofficially and 12 p.m. Train to Georgia, were drafted into the Grammy Corridor of Distinction for authentic creativity and huge worth. Drifter magazine positioned her among the 100 biggest vocalists ever. Gladys Knight is likewise a beneficiary of the Public Decoration of Expressions, and at the Kennedy Center distinctions in 2007, she was the beneficiary of the General Public of Artists. Ella granted, when she was likewise proclaimed the ruler of Seoul, a title that is left with her all through the remainder of her vocation. Gladys Knight has an expected total asset of $10 million from Gladys Knight's initial life. Gladys Marie Knight was brought into the world on May 28, 1944, in Atlanta, Georgia. She's the little girl of Merrilled Woodlow Knight, a mailman, and Sarah Elizabeth Woods. She has a sister, Brenda Knight, one living sibling Merrilled Bubba Knight Jr., and one departed sibling, David Billy Knight, all through the last part of the 1940s and mid-1950s. She sang in the Congregation Ensemble. She won Ted Max's first Amateur Night Network Program Challenge on July 1, 1952, at 8 years old. That year, Gladys, her sibling Bubba, sister Brenda, and their cousins Eleanor and William started performing together during Bubba's 10th birthday celebration party. After a phonograph broke down, the quintet consented to shape a gathering at the encouragement of Gladys' mom, Elizabeth Knight. The gathering chose the name The Pips, propelled by the epithet of their cousin James Pip Woods. By 1955, the gathering entered the ability show circuit in their old neighborhood of Atlanta, winning every ability show they entered. Their prosperity was presented to them by a record contract with Brunswick Records in 1957. At Brunswick, the gathering delivered 2 accounts that were neglected to outline. In spite of this, the gathering was presently opening for top R&B acts. For example, Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke by 1959. Brunswick dropped the gathering, and both Brenda Knight and Eleanor Visitor left the Pips to start families. They're supplanted by another cousin, Edward Patton, and a companion, Langston George. In 1961, they recorded Johnny Audie Seach Thump of My Heart, which is currently inadequate with regards to a record name. A nearby Atlanta, Mark Chasehim Records, pushed the single and got a dissemination-managed VJ Records to deliver it. The gathering moved to New York, where they tried out for Bobby Robinson's Wrath Records, after discovering that each Thump of My Heart was at that point turning into a hit, yet had removed the gathering of benefits. Robinson had the Pips record the melody and deliver it on Fierceness Records, preceding the re-discharge on Rage Records. The gathering changed her name to Gladys Knight, and later in 1961, the quintet delivered a solitary letter brimming with tears, which turned into one more top 40 hit in mid-1962 in the wake of delivering a series of singles on Fierceness Records. Langston George left the gathering in 1962. That very year, Knight passed on the gathering to begin a family with performer and spouse Jimmy Newman in 1964. She got back to the gathering, and they endorsed with Larry Maxwell's Maximum name, delivering a few unobtrusive hits created by Van McCoy, including Sweetheart's Generally Excuse and the first rendition of Surrendering Different Tunes they delivered on Max Incorporate. There won't ever be another adoration one way or the other. I lose. Stay away. Perhaps pause and get a grip. Furthermore, in the event that I ought to at any point experience passionate feelings for Gladys Knight is 5 feet, 3 inches, or 1.61 meters tall, about Gladys Knight's own life. Gladys Knight's been hitched multiple times and has 3 kids. In 1960, at 16 years of age, she became pregnant and hitched Atlanta performer and cohort James Jimmy Newman. She had an unsuccessful labor. The couple went on to have 2 youngsters. Their children, James Jimmy Gaston Newman, III, were brought into the world on August 13, 1962. Currently, Gladys has resigned from the street to bring up their youngster. While the Pips visited on their own in November 1963, she had her main girl, Kenya Maria Newman. Gladys' better half, James Newman, turned into a medication fiend and deserted the family when she was 20. Later, she got back to recording with the Pips to help her family. Gladys and her family lived on Sherbourne Street in Sherwood Woods in an upscale area on Detroit's west side. She dwelled on LaSalle Road for a period. Her kids went to Jesuit Catholic elementary school, subsequent to being isolated for 7 years. She separated from James Newman in 1973. Furthermore, he passed away a couple of years later. In 1974, Gladys Knight married Barry Hinkerson, who made Dark Ground Records. That was a name that marked his niece, the ERB. Vocalist Aaliyah, to a record bargain in Detroit. The couple had one child, Shanga. Ali Hinkerson was brought into the world on August 1, 1976. Around 1977, they migrated to Atlanta. Their marriage finished in 1979 with a drawn-out care fight over their child. She spent north of $1 million searching for her child after he was grabbed in 1995. She married persuasive orator Les Brown, yet they isolated and separated in 1997. For over 10 years, she endured a betting habit in the last part of the 1980s, subsequent to losing $60,000 in one night at the baccarat table. She joined Players Unknown, which helped her quit the propensity beforehand. She was later a Baptist and later a Catholic. In 1997, she was submerged into the Congregation of Jesus Christ of Contemporary Holy People, following her child and girl passing on Catholicism to join Gladys Knight's child, Jimmy Newman, who dealt with her profession through The Executives Consolidated until his passing. From a cardiovascular breakdown on July 10, 1999, at 36 years old, Newman was made due by his significant other Michelin girls, Anastasia and Gabrielle, and children Roshan, Stefan, and Real. In 2001, Gladys Knight married William McDowell. They have 17 grandchildren and 10 extraordinary grandchildren between them. Knight and McDowell lived in Fairview, North Carolina, close where they own a public venue the previous Reynolds Secondary School in Asheville went to buy McDowell in 2017. She helped raise $400,000 for the kids' learning places of Fairfield District. The occasion was held at the Castle Theater, was co-facilitated via Song Ann Riedel and Alan Coulter about Gladys Knight's profession. In 1966, the Pips joined Motown Records program. They delivered a series of hits all through the 1960s and into the mid 1970s, The Gathering. Then, at that point, left Motown for a more ideal arrangement with Buddha Records. In 1973, they made standard progress with their hit 12 p.m. Train to Georgia, which moved to the main spot on the ERB diagrams. The track likewise won a Grammy grant. The Gathering proceeded to encounter achievement and delivery hit tunes into the last part of the 1970s, when they had to isolate because of lawful issues. In 1978, Gladys Knight delivered her most memorable independent LP. Miss Gladys Knight with Buddha Records then, at that point, delivered Gladys Knight on Columbia Records in 1979. She then, at that point, improved the Pips for a couple of years, all through the start of the 1980s. In 1987, the group recorded their last LP before she sent off her performance profession authoritatively. She previously had critical energy on account of the progress of the Pips, as well as the outcome of the 1985 track that she had delivered with DNA Warwick, Stevie Marvel, and Elton John called That Is What Companions Are For in 1989. She recorded the signature tune for the James Bond film, Authorized to Kill, in 1991. She delivered her best independent LP, Great Lady. It hit the main spot on the ERB graph. Her next collection, Only for You, was assigned for the 1995 Grammy grant for Best R&B Collection. She proceeded to consistently create music over the course of the following years. At that point, by 2014, when she delivered Where My Heart Should Be, she had delivered 30 top 40 R&B collections, incorporating work delivered with the Pips, while music had overwhelmed her vocation. Gladys Knight has likewise shown up in certain movies and TV programs. In 1975, she featured in a theatrical presentation, The Gladys Knight and the Pips Show, which was dropped after 4 episodes. She was also featured on a few television series all through the 1980s and 1990s, showing up on Benson the Jeffersons, An Alternate World Living Single, The Jamie Foxx Show, and New York Secret. In 1985, she co-starred on the CBS sitcom Charlie and Company, close by jokester Flip Wilson, which went on for one season. She additionally performed on The Veil Artist in 2019. About Gladys Knight's land in 1997, Gladys paid $695,000 for a home in Las Vegas, Nevada. She sold this home in 2018 for $720,000. The house was purportedly difficult to sell since it had many customizations, for example, a studio in the cellar. In August of 2007, she bought a mountain retreat in the territory of North Carolina. It was situated in the unassuming community of Fairview, which is close to Asheville. The pioneer-style home has 3,918 square feet and incorporates 4 rooms, 4 restrooms, 3 chimneys, and is set on 20 sections of land that incorporate an enormous man-made lake with a gazebo close to the entry of the property. Thank you for watching this video.